G'day guys, I'm Matt Brand and this is a full in-depth review of the 2020 BMW M235i Gran Coupe. Now, I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room. Yes, this car's interior looks like it was made out of Tiggy and the Lorax, and their skin and pelt was used to make these everything orange inside of here. And don't worry, we will be discussing that. No, don't you worry. Now, the 2 Series Gran Coupe has to be the most polarizing BMW ever made, well, at least certainly in the last decade. And it's a car that you either love or you really, really hate. Oh, man. Now, the M235i competes with cars like the Audi S3 Sedan and the Mercedes CLA 35 AMG. And honestly, to a large extent, it also competes with the 330i, the car I just reviewed on the channel. So today, we're going to answer the question, as always, should you buy one? And as always, we're going to start by taking a look at the exterior of the M235i. Then we're going to move on to the interior and see how it drives, of course. And finally, we're gonna end on, should you buy one? And if you are new to the channel, make sure you go down there and hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you around the channel. I release a new car review every single week, so it's absolutely well worth it. And make sure, if you do enjoy the video, to go down there and hit the thumbs up button. It really, really helps the channel, the video, everything. It helps it out. So let's just get straight into the exterior. And honestly, this has to be the most polarizing design I think has come out of BMW's factories in a very, very long time. Now, full disclaimer here, I love weird cars. This is a weird car. I like the way it looks, but I totally understand why a lot of people don't. It's almost like a perfect 50-50 split that BMW has created, this chasm of hate and love, full of emotions, really. Now, I actually really like the front, and I think it is the least polarizing of all the different sides of the car. Yes, it has the giant kidney grills finished in cerium gray, which is like a gray copper look, but I really, really like it. And as we all know, BMW will get bigger and bigger grills. The all-new 4 Series Coupe has been announced, and wow, is that a big grill. And at some point, this M235i will probably wear that exact same grille. But really, I don't mind the way that the kidney grills look now. It looks like a raging, aggressive bull with flared nostrils, all angry, all ready to pounce. I think it's really cool. Just like the 3 Series I reviewed as well, there are plenty more grills where that came from. We have a grill down the bottom as well, which is completely functional, helps to scoop in air. And then we have even more grills to the side of that bottom grill. BMW love to put grills on the front of their cars. But the difference is that all of these grills are functional. There's even scoops at the front, which looks so cool in between the smaller grills. And the side vents that are functional again and help cool the wheels are finished in the cerium gray, that bronze copper-esque look. I really, really like it. The lights, they look absolutely gorgeous. The way that the LEDs work on these BMWs are fantastic, super bright in low beams, high beams, doesn't matter, looks great. And looks great with the daytime running lights too. Very modern, sleek, sporty. Big thumbs up. I love the BMW design language for headlights. Gonna give it a bit of sauce here. Oh, far out. Those gear changes are brutal. Anyway, overall, I really like the front. I think it really suits the car. Very sporty, very aggressive. Big fan. What about the side? Well, the side I'm not so sure about. Here's the thing, I actually don't mind it. For instance, I love the 19-inch V-spoke wheels that again finished in that cerium gray. They look absolutely fantastic, help really pop on the side of the car, especially with the bluish, grayish paint color. Whoa. Of course, you also see the absolutely gorgeous blue M Sport brakes, which are very functional, work super well, and look fantastic, especially within these wheels. The whole package just goes so well with the side of the car. So what's the issue then? Well, the issue to me is that it looks so big on the side. It just looks way too raised up to be a proper sports sedan. This is based on the UK L2 platform, which is shared with the BMW X1 and the BMW X2, both small SUVs. And you can really tell it's just raised really high up. It just looks big and boxy and kind of bloated. Probably doesn't help that its design is like a big rectangle as well. I don't know, it's just not my thing. I certainly don't hate it, I'm more just undecided. And then the rear is probably the most controversial part of this car. Why? It just looks like a giant rectangle. Now, starting top to bottom, I do really like the lip spoiler that's on top of the boot. It's very subtle, but it looks great. Of course, then we have the M235i badge, which is in that cerium gray. Again, that bronze look, really love it. The X-Drive badge, which means that yes, this car is all-wheel drive, and we'll get onto that in the driving part soon. And then we have the tail lights, which again, I don't really mind, but the issue with them is that they do look like they've come straight off a BMW X4 SUV. And that just doesn't help with trying to give this car a sedan look, because it looks like a lot of its design elements are taken straight out of SUVs. Which honestly, if you're buying a sports sedan, do you really want an SUV looking sports sedan? Not really. Of course, down the bottom are the exhaust tips, and they are mirages because they aren't the actual exhaust tips. They are fake, and then within them are real exhaust tips. And this is odd practice for BMW. Usually they have real exhaust tips for M or M Sport cars, but this is not one of those, which is, it's disappointing. But they do sound great, and here is a short compilation of how the exhaust sounds. Overall, with the exterior, I actually like it. I like the weirdness, I like the quirkiness, but I totally understand why people don't. There's a lot going on. It's very contemporary in its looks, maybe a bit too far forward thinking. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the M235i Gran Coupe, or any 2 Series Gran Coupe for that matter? Go down there right now and comment down below. I'm interested to hear what you guys think, because I think there'll be quite a bit of debate. It really is a car you either love or you hate. Now let's move on to the interior, and if you have been enjoying the video, please do go down there and hit the thumbs up button. As I said, it really helps the channel out. And of course, if you are new, definitely subscribe. Now, starting with the good, and just like every other BMW out there, the build quality and overall look is absolutely fantastic. Now, yes, the orange in here is very, very orange. It's a very orange interior. Personally, I don't really mind it. I think that if you are getting a sporty car, make it ostentatious, make it boisterous. Now, when I first saw it, I went, but having been around it for quite some time, it's grown on me. I actually really like it. I'm all for really ostentatious interiors, and this certainly delivers. Now, moving on to the steering wheel, and for all my long-term subscribers out there, you know how much I care about my steering wheels, and this steering wheel is just absolutely fantastic. It is the exact same M Sport steering wheel you will find on almost every new BMW out there. And it's great for many reasons. It feels great in the hand. It's made of great, almost perfect feeling leather. It is definitely on the thick side, but that helps to make it sporty. And it's very functional. We have all of our cruise controls on the left, all of our media controls on the right. It's incredibly easy to use, incredibly intuitive. I absolutely love it. It's so good. Oh, and the car has a heated steering wheel, which is absolutely fantastic. It's really nice and toasty in the hands. Again, it's part of a package. These seats, although incredibly orange, again, are absolutely fantastic. Now, this does have the comfort package, meaning that they are heated seats and they do have lumbar support. But even without that, these seats are just so good. Their quality is top notch. They feel so good. They hug you in all the right places, and they have adjustable side bolstering. So if you are a little bit smaller, you can make it conform to your body. If you're big and fat like me, perfect. Wow, I really degrade myself on this channel. I'm a massive fan of these seats. Then we have the infotainment, a 10.25-inch display, which is one of the best in the business. Not quite as good as MBUX, and a lot of people, especially diehard BMW fans, hate to hear that, but really, it's just not. The reason is it's not as seamless as MBUX. Doesn't have Android Auto yet. We're told it's coming, but we've been told it's coming for quite some time. Hopefully it'll be here in a couple of months. Never buy a car on the promise of a feature. Could get delayed, you never know. That's not to say it's bad. It's still really good. Incredibly bright, color accurate, extremely responsive, heaps of menus and functions. It has one of the best backup systems in existence. It will park itself. You can back up 50 meters using the car's memory, and it has really, really good sensors and augmented reality. When you put the car into reverse and you reverse up, it puts up barriers to show how close you are on real-time screens. It's really good. You can control it with your fingers, or you can control it with the iDrive system down here too. It's just really, really functional. Again, in my opinion, not as good as MBUX, but it's not far off. The digital driving displays as well, absolutely fantastic. I love that in the M235i and any M2 whatever you get, you see the badge up at the top. It helps to distinguish it. So you're always reminded that you have the M235i. It's just a nice touch. This is again a 10.25-inch display. Again, bright, color accurate, works well. My only complaint with it is that it's not very customizable. This is again why MBUX is just that little bit better. It's a bit more seamless. You can customize it a bit more. You can't do very much with this system at all, except for change some select information within the tachometer side of the screen. It does change the color of the screen when you put the car into Sport, Eco, Pro, or Comfort, but really that's just not anywhere near as good as its competitors. Audi's digital cockpit, Mercedes MBUX, they just do it better. But again, it's still really, really good. And then attached to that, and what is the best in the business, is the heads-up display. It is so good, so bright, spot-on color accuracy, high resolution, which is really important, displays all the information you could ever want up there. Massive fan. Another great thing is the climate controls. Physical buttons, very easy to use, and they look great. They really help with the overall aesthetic of the interior. So, I've said so many good things about the interior. Is there any bad? And first of all, it's actually quite hard to find many things bad in the interior of BMW. They really do have probably the best interiors in the business. But here's a few things that I can nitpick about. The armrest here on the door is really hard, and so is the armrest here in the center. It's not really very comfortable places to rest your arms. It gets a downgraded version of BMW's lane keep assist. So it doesn't hook you up to the dead center of the lane, it kind of bounces you between the lanes to make sure you don't depart them. And that's still really good, but it's not as good as, for instance, the BMW 3 Series, which really is almost autonomous driving. And then there's a huge list of optional extras, many of which you want. This sunroof here, optional extra. Lumbar support, optional extra. Heated seats, optional extra. A heated steering wheel, optional extra. But the interior is just, in my opinion, a little bit on the boring side. I think the Mercedes CLA 35 just does a better job with the interior. It looks a lot more modern, a lot more tech focused. It's not as good in terms of build quality, but it's not far off it either. I like to describe BMW's interiors as elegant rather than anything exciting. Quickly talking about the rear seats, I have enough headroom, I have enough legroom. If you want more headroom, you probably want to go with the BMW 1 Series hatch. It just has more space above your head because this is a coupe style. As a result, it kind of cuts back. But as I said, enough legroom, and there are good amenities back there. 2 USB-C ports and air vents, which you don't get on the 218i, which is the base model of the 2 Series Gran Coupe. In terms of boot space, well, there's actually quite a lot. 430 liters of boot space. You can get a lot in the back of the car, and it's really easy to load up because it has a flat load bay. With underfloor storage as well, if you want it, of course, you can put down the back seats. It's really practical. Now let's get into what we all want to see. Ooh, how it drives. Now, I'm not gonna lie, driving it is a little bit disappointing. The BMW M235i has a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and it pumps out a huge 220 kilowatt of power and 450 newton meters of torque. And you know, we put the car into sport mode, and it's fast. Don't get me wrong, it's fast, but it's not as fast as you would think it would be. Now, it's front-wheel drive bias, which is a massive departure away from the old 2 Series, which was rear-wheel drive. But as I said earlier, it has X-Drive, meaning that it has an all-wheel drive system, so it can send 50% of power to the rear wheels on demand. And all of that power is sent through an 8-speed automatic transmission. The 0 to 100 kilometer time is 4.9 seconds, which is really fast. And for all you people stuck in imperial units, the 0 to 60 mile per hour time is about 4.7 seconds, but really it's actually closer to 4.4 seconds. Now that's really fast, but the only way I have been able to achieve those kind of stupid fast times is putting the car into launch control. Consistently then you will be thrown back into your seat. This car is very fast. But honestly, even when you have the car in sport mode, the transmission in sport mode, and you floor it, I don't know, it's not like a sporty experience. It's not what it should be. And so for me, that has been the biggest issue. Just the inconsistency in how it puts down all of its power is really, it's been a big shame. Now, again, it's not slow, it is fast. You feel it has a lot of power. It's just how it delivers it. It just changes all the time. And 90% of the time, it delivers power smoothly. Even in sport mode, even with the transmission in sport mode. And to be honest, that's not what I want. If I have the car in sport mode, the transmission in sport mode, I want a car that's gonna throw me back, and it has the power and the potential to do it. It can do it, but why it only does it in launch control mode when usually it's just a replication of stamping your foot on the ground? I don't know. It takes a while for the car to build boost. I get it, I get that. But you don't have that issue in the AMG CLA 35. You just don't. It feels like a much sportier car, and that has an arguably worse 7-speed dual clutch transmission, so I don't get it. And it has less power. It's just, it disappoints me the way that this car drives. In terms of how it handles, well, it's really good. It's really good. By the way, this car sounds absolutely fantastic, even though a lot of the sound is pumped in. But anyway, steering is absolutely fantastic. It's so precise when you put it in sport mode. It comes heavy, really sporty. It's awesome. Oh, it handles so well. Oof.
Also has a Torsen limited slip differential between the front wheels, meaning that when you do turn a corner, it does send more power to the wheel with more grip. So it is very planted.
And then ride quality is just awesome. It does have the passive M Sport suspension on it, meaning it won't change when you change it through the modes. It is one setting and one setting only. But it's honestly one of the best suspension setups I think I've come across. It's soft and comfortable over bumps, yet is so planted when you do turn a corner at a really fast pace. Like, if you didn't tell me that this wasn't adaptive suspension, I might struggle to tell. It somehow is like a jack of all trades, and that's awesome. So yeah, the issue for me does not come down to how this car rides, how this car handles. It's how this car really performs in a straight line. So it's a little bit disappointing. Again, it's not slow at all. It's just not as fast as it should be. So is it worth it? The M235i starts at just over 81,000 Australian dollars, and this model here as spec'd with its 2 comfort something packages, its sunroof and its nice exterior paint, comes to around 85,000 Australian dollars. Now that definitely sounds like a lot of money, and don't get me wrong, that is a lot of money, but it's not out of line for its class. In fact, even at this spec here, it still comes in at 10,000 Australian dollars cheaper than an AMG CLA 35. Now, if you're comparing this to the AMG CLA 35, this car here does handle better, it steers better, it rides better, but it's not quite as quick. And it doesn't feel as nimble because this car really does feel like quite a big car, whereas that definitely does feel like a smaller, sleeker sports sedan. But it is $10,000 more, and if I was choosing, I would probably still go for the M235i and save myself that $10,000. Or even better, if you just want to go for the base model without all these optional extras, which you don't really need, that's $15,000 of savings. I'd take that. But here's the issue. BMW say it doesn't compete with the 330i that I just reviewed, but honestly it does, because they're about the exact same price and they perform pretty damn similarly in terms of straight line performance. Now yes, this car, it's faster. There's no doubt about it. But in day-to-day driving, honestly, the 330i, it just feels fast. It feels like a better driving car, and there's quite a few reasons for it. It's a rear-wheel drive sedan. It's got a very similar engine with very similar outputs, and it's just the sports sedan experience that you probably want to have with this M235i, but that you just don't get. In terms of which one I would take, this or the 330i, I think I would rather have the M235i because I think it suits my character more. I want something a bit more show-offery, sounds just bonkers. And when you want to put it in launch control and launch it, you will get a great reaction out of your friends. But in my heart of hearts, I know that the 330i is a better driving car, and its competitors do drive better in some areas as well. And then, to be honest, I wouldn't even take the M235i, I would take the M135i. Why, you might ask? Well, it's effectively the same car, but it has a shorter wheelbase, is a little bit lighter, and is a bit more practical for sitting people in the back. Like, you know, that's a win for me. Again, don't go thinking that this is at all a bad car. It's the opposite. It's a fantastic car. But there are other options out there that I would personally take over the M235i and either save myself money with an M135i that is almost the exact same car but a little bit better in its driving, or the 330i, which is a bit more luxurious and drives almost as well but better in some areas. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like the M235i, or would you rather have a 330i or a CLA 35 or an M135i? There are so many options out there, which is great for you and I as consumers, but also mean that I don't really understand where this car ultimately sits. I can't see it being better than the other cars that BMW already offers and are very similar, if not almost identical, like the M135i. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy the video, please go down there and hit the thumbs up button. It really, really helps the channel out. If you are new, please subscribe to the channel. I release a new car review every single week, so you get to see as soon as I upload an awesome car just like the M235i, and I've got some pretty cool cars coming over the next few months. Of course, comment down below as well, would you buy an M235i? And I'll catch you next time.